Hi, and welcome to CMPP Speakers for Schools programme. Today I'm going to be chatting to Neil Pizzey, who is the Managing Director of Amazon Filters. It's based over in Camberley. And he's going to tell us a little bit more about what he does and how he got to that position. So, hi Neil.
Hi, Reg, how are you?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Excellent, very good, very good.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
My
So,
pleasure.
so Neil, just tell us a little bit about what it is you do. What does a Managing Director actually do?
As little as possible. Um, so I guess, in reality, the role is, or the role as it is now, is strategically focused. So looking at the future of the business, trying to make sure we're navigating the challenges and preparing ourselves for what we want to be in 3, 4, 5 years' time. And then sort of trying to be the unblocker of little problems, helping people to navigate their way around challenges, um, you know, giving guidance, advice, um, making sure the wider team are all able to do their jobs to the best of their ability. So I see myself as like a facilitator to the wider company, really, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, for anyone that doesn't know, the managing director role, that is basically the boss of the company.
Yeah,
That's
sorry,
that's
yeah.
right,
I suppose
effectively.
in a more formal definition, yeah, I am responsible overall for everything within the business. So that's
Yeah,
got sort of legal and statutory requirements to, operate a company that runs within the laws, within the accounting principles, safely, not putting anybody at risk, not defrauding anybody. So yeah, there's all of those formal responsibilities as well. But on a more sort of daily basis, it's about just guiding the place forward, really.
yeah. Making sure it all runs well and everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so how did you get to become then a managing director of Amazon
Uh,
Filters? Tell us like take us back to when you left school.
yeah, sure. So I wasn't really a model student. I did A levels that I spent a little bit much time in the pub at lunch times whilst I was doing them and got a D and an E. Ended up at a low level, well, polytechnic as was, but low level university as would be now, doing an engineering and business studies degree, um, which I had a right good time doing. I got a drinker's degree, so I got 2-2. So doing as little study as I possibly could. But you learn life lessons from all of that. I managed to get myself in a manufacturing engineering job in the automotive industry, which is a very brutal industry to be introduced to because car factories run 24 hours, 7 days a week, and as a supplier to that industry, you have to make sure you supply it, or else you're in big trouble. So it was a really good introduction to what the world of work is like. We
Yeah.
had a factory that was expanding really quickly. Um, the young engineers at the age of 22 or whatever, 21, were quite given quite a lot of responsibility and quite a lot of pressure. And we would be on call, getting calls at 10 o'clock at night to come in and fix a machine because the night shifts couldn't run if we didn't, and all of that. So it was a really good laugh, really hard going, and a great sort of grounding for what came after. So I worked there for, I don't know, 6 to 7 years. And then basically my father had started Amazon Filters on the year I went to university. And basically I needed a manufacturing person. So it was either me or they had to recruit somebody from outside. So I decided to join the company at that point. I think I was the 11th employee. And we had sales of about £800,000 at that time. So, put
Wow.
that in context, we're 250 people now and about 40 million of sales. So it's quite a lot of change over that time. And it was a big change because I'd come from a big company. I was working in a factory of 500 people. Um, and, when you wanted to do something, you contacted somebody to do it. So, if you wanted to
Yeah.
move a machine, you got a machine moving company in. if you wanted to wire a machine up, you got the electricians in. I came to Amazon Filters, and if you wanted to move a machine, you got a barrow and moved it yourself. And if you wanted to wire something up, you had to work out how to do it. So you didn't have the luxury of paying other people to do things. So it was quite a culture shock in many ways. And you start to realise the value of money in a different way than you do in a big company. You also start to recognise the responsibility levels, I suppose, or the authority levels that you get. One of the big complaints of a big company was that you got loads of responsibility, so you were expected to achieve things, but you didn't really have any authority. I wasn't allowed to buy a set of spanners without getting 6 approval signatures,
Yeah, yeah.
um, which is very frustrating. And of course, the beauty of coming to a smaller business is you have that authority. So yeah, it was a big change, big culture shock. I joined to run manufacturing business, and essentially what I did when I joined was set up Amazon Filters as a manufacturer. Before that, it was a sales organisation, basically, buying things
Wow.
from other manufacturers, selling them to filter users.
Right. Okay.
And what we did after I joined was basically set up making those products ourselves. So spent about
Fantastic.
10 years doing that, I suppose, and then ended up taking over as managing director some time ago. I can't
Um,
even remember, probably 10, 15 years, something like that.
I mean, that's incredible to start from 11 people in a company. Well, when you joined, obviously your dad, I
Yeah,
presume, started it from just
yeah,
him
yeah,
buying and selling things to becoming
yeah,
a massive manufacturer in the filter industry with
yeah,
250 members of staff.
yeah, yeah. UK.
Fantastic, and I think it's incredible that you're sort of right on a lot of the local schools' doorsteps. And I think that maybe a lot of people may not even know that you're there, or the amount of jobs
No,
that Amazon filters do produce within the
yeah.
engineering manufacturing side.
It's a funny business, really, because it's one of those hidden industries. So
Yeah,
nobody really would see a filter, but they're used in pretty much anything that you use on a daily basis. So the water that comes out of your tap, any cosmetics you use, perfumes. If you use a printer, the ink will be filtered. Anything that
wow,
you consume out your fridge has probably seen a filtration process.
yeah,
If you're on any medication, you'll have seen load of filtration because it's used in manufacture of pharmaceuticals, vaccines, all of that stuff. Um, you know,
wow.
Electricity generation. It's a hidden industry, which is one of those things that allows all other industries and all other products to happen, basically. So it's a strange one, and you don't think of it until you're in it, really. The brand
No, and
names.
when you're in school thinking about your options and what jobs you might do, it might not necessarily be something that you'd think about, but actually all the
No,
opportunities that within that HR, filtration, all
oh,
those sorts
absolutely.
of things is yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
and
so
right
it's
here in
quite strange. I'm a bit of a nerdy sort of manufacturing person. I love business that makes stuff. You can spend your whole life pushing paper around, and there's nothing wrong with it. It's good for a lot of people, but for me, there's a certain satisfaction out of actually producing something that somebody uses to solve a problem, and that's what we do
yeah,
basically. So, yeah.
yeah,
Sorry,
yeah.
I'm drifting off subject there.
No, it's great. It's really interesting. It's really interesting to hear. So tell me then, what within your career, what do you think you found most rewarding?
Um,
Or what, I mean, that could be on a day-to-day basis. What do you find most
yeah,
rewarding?
sure.
What do you enjoy most, I guess?
I get a lot of satisfaction from uh, trying to make sure Amazon Filters has a great reputation and is seen as a valuable supplier to our customers. Uh, you know,
Yeah,
and all that goes with that, basically, because if you get that reputation and you do a good job, then the rewards come from that, basically. And it also means you're not going to achieve that unless you've got committed, engaged staff and team, and that you believe in doing the right things and all of those great things. But it's all ultimately it's quite simple, really. If you do good things, right things in the right way, then you've got a fairly good chance of succeeding. And I get a lot of satisfaction from having a team that have, you know, I would never want to be complacent or arrogant about it, but I think at the end of the day, we've done pretty reasonably well. And
Yeah,
that's a great team of people. And a lot of the guys and girls have been with us, for a lot of that, whatever it's 38 years. So
I was
obviously
just
we've
going to
seen a
ask
few
that.
retire. Yeah, I think it's 38 years since we founded. But if you go back and look at the last 20 years, we've got an inordinately high number of 20, 15-year service people in the business who have been absolutely crucial to our growth. And
Yeah,
it's great to see people who come in. Perhaps you know it's been a career path for them, if you like. There's
yeah,
lots of people in senior positions that weren't necessarily obviously going to get to senior positions. Who've managed to develop themselves through their own graft and hard work and talent. But in a growing business, you get those type of opportunities, which is fantastically rewarding
yeah.
from where I sit. So yeah, I really like that, and I and I,
And
li-
it's
and I
really
like
nice.
being competitive as well.
No, that's what I was just saying. How lovely it is, really, that you've got a lot of members of staff that have stayed, like almost become part of the Amazon Filters
Yeah.
family, I guess. And
Oh yeah, and
once
it's
they're
a
in,
bit cliche, but we definitely feel like that.
yeah, it's really lovely. And so, what do you think has been your biggest challenge?
Well, you do anything in business is there's challenges every day. I mean, I suppose there's two questions there, isn't it? What are your challenges personally, and what are the challenges as a business? But I think in some ways they're quite similar. So making
Yeah,
sure you have a clear focus, making sure you understand what your priorities are, making sure that you do the things that actually are going to make a difference. I've met loads of people far smarter than me, academically more talented, um, cleverer, all the rest of it. Okay. But I do observe that quite a lot of those people are not as successful as they might be. And a lot of the time that is because they're not really good at recognizing what are the important things to do as against just doing the things that they either are made urgent or
yeah,
that they perceive to be important that aren't really important. And I'm really a believer that that sort of fluid intelligence to a certain extent of recognizing what your real challenges are and trying to deal with those and your real opportunities and how to take those, I think is pretty important in anybody's success, really, in whatever job you do, whatever walk of life. You know, loads of people spend a lot of time doing stuff that don't matter,
yeah,
basically.
yeah.
So avoiding that is my watchword.
Oh no, thank you. And you've given some fantastic bits of advice there already. But do you have any final bits of advice for any school age students that are just sort of making their choices or thinking about what they want to do with their career?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be condescending around it, but find something you like doing. You're going to spend a lot of your life in a workplace, and I really believe life's too short to spend it doing something you don't like. And
Yeah,
I'm well aware that that's not always a choice for everybody, and sometimes you just have to suck it up and do what you need to do because you got to earn to live at the end of it all. But really trying to find something that at least is interesting to you and is within a workplace that treats you respectfully and all the rest of it. It sort of stuns me how badly some employers behave and how people accept it. To be honest, so yeah, my real point is just find something you like doing, and if you can, try and do that. So couldn't give simpler advice really, to be honest.
and it is as simple as that, really, isn't it? You're in it. You don't
Yeah.
have to be
Yeah.
in it for a long time, but it's if you find something you like, you can be. So yeah,
And you might as well
fantastic.
try.
Yeah, absolutely. No, Fantastic advice. Thank you so much. It's been great hearing your story, Neil, as well. So thank you so much for your time today. It's been brilliant. Thank
No, you're
you.
very welcome. Very welcome.